What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new around here, my name is Alex. On this channel we cover Miatas and all sorts of other automotive topics. In today's video I want to bring a breakdown of tires on the Miata, what kind of sizes you can be running and what kind of tires you can be running. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Okay, so let's start off with the basics. The factory NA and some NB Miatas are going to come with a 14-inch wheel with a 185/60/14 tire on them. And the most popular sizes you're going to see on Miatas from the factory are going to be either a 14 or a 15. There were some models that went all the way up to 17. But for today, I'm going to focus on 14, 15, and 16 as these are going to be the most popular sizes, the 14 and 15 specifically. So I think one of the most important factors when you're looking at buying tires for your Miata are going to be, what do you use the car for? Is it a daily driver that sees all types of weather? Is it just a sunny, nice weather street car? Is it a full out track car, performance car, drift car? So determine that first, because that's going to determine what kind of tires you want to be looking at, as well as sizes. Now, before I get into all of that, let's start with the very basics and then we'll dive a little bit deeper into the specifics. So looking at the sidewall of the tire is going to give us a lot of the information we'll be looking for. We've got the size. I run a 205/50/15. We have the load and speed rating. We're also occasionally going to have things like tread wear listed right on the sidewall, and then you're also going to have the date of manufacture. So when you're looking for the date of manufacture on your tires, it's going to look something like this, usually in a circle like this near something that says DOT. And what you're going to be looking at is the four numbers. So the first two digits are going to be the week of the year that they were manufactured. The last two digits are going to be the year they were manufactured. So these tires were made in the first week of 2021. So that is some helpful information to know when you receive your tires, or if you have an old set of tires laying around or you pick up a used set of tires, you can see how old those tires actually are. And if they're pretty old, that's probably something you don't want to be using. So also on these, you can see I have a rotation marker. These particular set of tires need to be mounted on the vehicle going a certain direction, so that makes sure that you have the tire facing the right way on the right side. Also, mine has the tread wear and traction figures listed there. So 200 tread wear, this is going to be a very grippy tire, but it is not going to last a super long time. And we'll dive into this kind of stuff a little bit later on in the video when we get into more of the specifics. And this kind of stuff is just going to be dictated by your use case and what you're looking for out of the tire. All right, so let me go ahead and throw out some of the most popular tire sizes you're going to run into on the Miata. I already mentioned the stock size, the 185/60/14. If you want to step up from that a little bit but still run 14s and have a super lightweight setup, you can run a 195/60/14. There's going to be a few performance options in that tire size. Moving on to 15s, there's going to be three main sizes I'm focusing on here, and they're going to coincide kind of with the three types of categories I'm going to kind of focus on in this video. So you're going to have a 195/45/15, and this is super popular with people that are running their Miata super low and kind of running the stance look and maybe stretching that on a 15/8, 15/9, or 15/10. It's a really good size for this. It looks nice. It fits well on those popular wheel sizes that people run for the stance setup. And there's a few good tire options in that size as well. All right, stepping up from that, we're gonna have probably the most popular tire size, and I would put this in the street/performance category. You can run this on the street, you can run this on the track, very versatile and fun setup, and that's gonna be the 205/50/15. It's what I'm running on mine. A very popular setup is gonna be a 15/8 wheel and 205/50 tire. Like I said, that is my current setup. There are gonna be all sorts of tire options here, from an all-season tire to a summer tire to a full-out performance tire, allowing you to do just about any sort of driving with this setup. The last size I'm going to cover today in the 15-inch category is going to be the 225/45. This is going to be a full-on performance setup. If you're running this, most likely you're running a 15/8, but most likely 15/9 or wider wheel, and all of the tires in this category are going to be more performance oriented. All right, so moving on to 16. These are pretty much going to mirror the 15-inch setups with the 3 different sizes corresponding to the 3 different categories I laid out earlier. You're gonna have a 195 50 16. You're also gonna have a 205 50 16, and you're gonna have a 225 45 16. All right, so now that we know a little bit about these setups, let's go ahead and jump onto the computer, and we can take a look at some specific tires and use case scenarios, and I'll give my recommendations for the 3 categories I listed earlier: the stance, the street, and the performance setups. All right guys, let's go ahead and go to Tire Rack. This is one of my favorite places just to check on tires. All right, so let's go ahead and start plugging in some of these tire sizes I talked about earlier and see what we can do. So real quick, if we want to look at the stock size, the 185 60 14, you're gonna find that all of these are pretty much going to be all season tires. There is one 200 tread wear option here. Most people, if you're watching this video, probably are not going to be buying this tire size unless you're just looking for a factory replacement. Then here you go. You got quite a few options. They're all very affordable. But let's go ahead and do a new search and step this up to a 195 60 14 and see what we can get. So here we go. We're gonna have quite a few performance options right off the bat. Well, looks like there's just 2, but this is the size I would be running if I wanted to have a super lightweight and smaller setup with a 14, but still have some fun and have a bit of a performance setup. And it looks like on here you've only got a couple of options, a couple of Falcon tire options. But these are pretty affordable for a set of 4 for some pretty good tires. Alright, and here for the Stancy boys, the 195 45 15. Tire Rack's only showing one option. That's going to be this Toyo Extensa. We've actually run this tire on my buddy Cole's Miata on his 15x9s. It looked great and worked very well. It's also a very affordable tire, so I would have no problem whatsoever recommending this if you want to stance your Miata and stretch this tire. Alright, now let's take a look at the tried and true 205 50 15. So immediately we're going to have quite a few more options. We've got high performance all seasons, we've got high performance summer tires. So we've got a 460 treadwear here. This is going to be a good, fun, all around tire. We've got max performance and extreme performance. So a lot of options, something for everyone in this category. So let's just say you got some aftermarket wheels for your Miata, probably 15x7 or 15x8, and you're looking at a 205 50 tire for them. This is where I'd be coming, and let's say if it's a daily driver, I would probably look at these 2 right here. If you're driving the car every day and it sees all sorts of weather, all sorts of conditions, either go with an all season or a summer tire. These are both going to work in the rain and in the dry, and you're going to be able to get probably at least a couple of years out of the tires before they need to be replaced. I'd probably be looking at something like this summer tire here with either a 300 or a 460 treadwear rating. And to kind of simplify and explain this rating right here, basically the higher the number you see, it's going to be generally a harder tire, which is going to allow the tread to last a longer time. The lower the number, it's going to be softer, which is going to provide a lot more grip, but that tread is going to wear out faster. So something like this 300 400 is going to be kind of in the middle. You're going to have some grip, but they're also going to last a good amount of time. Now these right here, which is an all season as opposed to a summer tire, they're even higher. They're 500 treadwear rated, so going to be more of an all season thing. Obviously going to be better in wet conditions, rain, cold, dry, of course. And you can see both of these in the all season category have a 45,000 mile warranty, where these summer tires do not, but you could still expect these to last at least a couple of years. I would say at least 20 to 30,000 miles. So let's clear this out, and let's say you want a super fun street car, maybe a autocross or track day here and there, and maybe you don't drive it every day, or you do and you don't care if you have to replace your tires every year or even less than a year. This is where I would be going. 200 treadwear, tried and true setup. Going to be a lot of fun on the Miata. And you're going to have quite a few choices in this size. You got the Dunlop Dureza Z3. It's a solid tire. The Falcon Azzini's 615K. This is a bit of an older tire now, but you can get it at a pretty good price. And then the Falcon Azzini's RT660. This is the newest version of the Azzini's 200 treadwear tire. This used to be a really popular choice once the Bridgestone was discontinued, and I've heard a lot of mixed things on that. This is the tire that I'm currently running, and I've really enjoyed it on the street, but some of the heavy track users have some mixed feelings about this tire and saying it's not quite living up to the hype, having some bad wear characteristics and life on the track. So if you are going to be pretty heavily focused on track days and things like that, maybe go for one of these other 200 treadwear options. But so far for me on the street, I've really liked this tire. It's been a ton of fun. But moving along, other 200 treadwear options. We now have the Bridgestone Potenza RE71 RS. I believe this is the new version of the RE71. I actually used to run the RE71 before it got discontinued, and that was the ultimate tire, in my opinion. Daily driving, I would wear them out in about 11 months, but the grip was unmatched. So I actually didn't know until the filming of this video that this tire was out, so I might have to check this out in the future. Another option you got right here, looks like it's coming in kind of middle of the road in price, is the Continental Extreme Contact Force. I've heard this is a really good tire. We've got some Yokohama Advans. I don't know a whole lot about this tire, but the nice thing about Tire Rack here is they have all these tires that have been tested, and you can even compare them and check out the specs, check out how they did in the testing. They'll compare them to the other comparable 200 treadwear tires here and tell them what they liked, what they didn't like, what it did good at, and what it did not do good at. So that's one of the reasons I like to research my tires on Tire Rack before buying. Moving on down the list, we've got a BFG G-Force Rival. We've got a offering from Kumo coming in at only $584 for the full set. We've got some Nankangs and another Yokohama Advan. So you can see in this size, especially in the 200 treadwear category, you have a lot of options, a lot of really great tires. I'm a really big fan of this setup. It's been a ton of fun on the Miata. So definitely, if you can swing it, get you some 200 treadwears. But that is going to cover it for this one. Let's go ahead and move on to the next size. Actually, before we do that, almost forgot, you have some options even higher than the 200 treadwear in the size as well. So let's go to the track and competition section. This is where we get into the 80 and 100 treadwears. These are going to be the ultimate in grip. No compromises in that area. Probably wouldn't recommend daily driving on them. You can definitely drive these on the street, but these are track specific tires. These aren't going to do anything for you in the rain. You can see these are basically semi-slicks. But again, we have quite a few options in this size. Alright, now moving on to the next size, the 225 45-15. We look at our categories here. It is only performance and track and competition tires in this size. So this is definitely going to be for the performance-oriented driver. Probably not daily driving your car at this point. This is going to be for someone with a wider wheel, wanting a wider tire, more grip, more contact patch. So we'll pretty much have a lot of the same options as we had in the 205/50 as far as the 200 treadwears go. And same thing with the track and autocross tires. Alright, moving on to the 16s. We're looking at the 195/50-16. Quite a few options here. You're going to see we have options for pretty much every category. We have high performance summer, high performance all seasons. We got summer tires. We got 200 treadwears. We even have winter and snow and track and competition. So quite a few more options here when compared to the 195/45-15. Let's look at something a little wider, a 205/50 16. Again, we have pretty much every option available to us. These are generally going to be a little bit more expensive per tire than the 15s though, just because this is a little bit less common of a size than the 15. And finally, the 225 45 16, same deal. Only performance tires and track and competition, and mostly those same options that you're going to be used to. Okay, so now we've looked at most of the main sizes you're going to find on the Miata. Let's go ahead and real quick get to my picks for the 3 categories. So starting out with the stance category, I have to go with that Toyo Extensa HP. I have experience with this tire. It's very solid. It looks good, and really no complaints all around. Very affordable. It's a quality tire, and there's really not much else to it. When it comes to a stance tire, I feel like the main things you're looking for are it being cheap and it stretching well. This covers both those bases. You could honestly probably find more affordable options than this tire even in this size, so that is up to you. It is really not that big a deal what tire you're running as long as it works for you. All right, street slash performance category in the 205/50. If it's a daily, I'm going with this Yokohama Advan, and if you want a 200 treadwear, I'm going with the Falcon RT660. With that caveat I mentioned about the heavy track use, if it's more heavy track use, I'm probably going with that Continental or that new Bridgestone RE71 RS. And then finally, the all-out performance category for a 225/45, I gotta go with the Toyo Proxy R888. This tire's been around a while. It is tried and true. Gonna be a really solid dedicated track option. Alright guys, that's going to do it for me on this one. Hopefully you found this helpful. We really just kind of scratched the surface on this one. We got into it a little bit, but I mean, you could get really deep with this subject. So hopefully this helps you out if you're starting your search for some tires for your Miata. Hopefully this can help point you in the right direction. So if you have any questions, make sure to leave a comment down below. I'd be happy to help. But other than that, thank you for watching. Have an awesome week, and we will see you in the next one.